This is just a guide. Many people in Ghana think linguistics is learning many languages. In as much as I would want to flatter myself and my fraternity would love to flatter ourselves with that assertion, that is not the reality. You see, linguistics is not about learning languages. It is about looking how scientific these languages are, the patterning, the structures, the organization of these languages. Linguistics is not advanced English. Neither is it advanced French or Chinese or whatsoever you have been made to believe. In fact, English focuses on literature, writing, and other forms of textual analysis. But in linguistics, we look at sound, structure, meaning, language pattern, word formation processes, and all those stuff. Linguistics is too scientific and technical compared to English or any other language as a study. So is linguistics the same as English? No. Do you automatically learn French when you study linguistics? No. And we will get into that. The simple truth is linguistics is just the scientific study of language. It is just the scientific study of language. And when we say the scientific study of language, we are not talking about one language. We're not talking about two languages. We're not talking about three. Neither are we talking about 5 or 50 or 60. We are talking about language as the system of communication, the human system of communication, not a particular language. So we all know that language is the means through which human interacts and whatsoever, from social studies and English and wherever we learned those things in the primary school days and so on and so forth. It's the same concept that we have, but this time around, we are very keen on establishing the fact that language is not just what is spoken. So we have verbal language and then we have sign language. So keep that at the back of your mind. When we say language or when we mention language in linguistics, we do not mean English, French, Chinese, or whatsoever. We mean the means of communication, the medium of communication. Language is something we all use. Okay, English uses language, French uses language. You know, the study of French, English, Chinese, German, they all use language. But linguistics is interested on how and why the language system that these language studies are using works. We are interested in how these things are working. How does it work? Because the boy is grown and the grown is boy have the same set of sentences. Sorry, the same set of words. So why is it that we cannot say the grown is boy, but instead we say the boy is grown? These structures are things that linguistics looks at exploring. So linguistics focuses on questions like, why do people pronounce the same words differently? Why do some sentences sound right and others don't? Like the example I just gave, you can say the boy is grown, you cannot say the grown is boy. Why does it work that way? Or why doesn't it work that way? Why can one sentence mean different things in different situations? Okay, what might be a compliment here might not be a compliment over there. How does that work? These are some of the things that linguistics, explores. It looks at how children acquire languages, how they learn languages without being taught the rules, because you and I both know when a child is learning the language, we don't have to tell them that you put the determiner before and now, or you don't. No, it doesn't happen that way. So how do these things work? Now, the reason linguistics, is interested in all these things is the fact that we believe that language is not random. Language is not random. Whatever we say out of our mouth follows a particular pattern. Okay, so we have two examples here, one in English and one in French, saying the same thing. The child reads a book. What do they have in common? We can all see, if you follow the arrow, we can all see that they have the subject, they have a verb, and they have an object. Now look at the patterning we are looking at. In the subject position, there are two words, right? There is the and child, a determiner and a noun. Look carefully at this determiner and a noun. Look at them very well. In the next slide, I'll ask you a question and you tell me what you think is happening here. Down there in French, we have l'enfant lit le livre. The child reads a book. Now, the reason we have this asterisk here is because in a sentence like this, the correct form is what is up here. L'enfant lit le livre. But I want you to understand that l'enfant is not just a single word. Instead, it's a combination of the determiner le or le, depending on where you come from, and the noun enfant. If they come together, then we get l'enfant. That is why it's in asterisk, because that's not how it is written. They have the same structure. Subject followed by the verb followed by the object. In fact, there are languages that flip the structure. Some languages have subject followed by object and then the verb. And they exist, Japanese languages and so on and so forth. Remember what I asked you to look at? The subject structure. Let's go to our Akan languages. In fact, our Ghanaian languages. Infanti, abofra no kinkan buku or abofra no kan buku. The child reads a book. What is different here? What can you say or what can you see to be different in this structure? The positioning of the determiner. You see, it changes based on the language that we are looking at. So we say that language is not random. Language is not random. It follows a particular pattern. And the same thing happens in the every example that we have down there. The determiner position is changed, just as in Akan. So when we speak, we don't just guess the words or the patterns. Other than that, remember the example I gave you. The child is grown or the boy is grown. If we were guessing patterns anyhow, we would have said the grown is boy and it will still make sense. But that is not what we do. That is not what linguistics is about. Okay? Linguistics is about looking at these patterns as single separate entities, trying to figure out what works and what doesn't work. Now, when we speak, we know or we understand that words are put together in a pattern way such that every single sentence we utter, every utterance we make follows an internal structure, internal order. An example of the internal order we have in simple, description is what we have here: the noun, determiner, verb, now, the subject, verb, object thing is a rough sketch of what exists. When we get into this more, you get to know most of the terminologies and how these structures, the trees, and all those things come to place, which is a lot more technical. But understand that if any of these underlying patterns are altered, meanings change. Remember, the boy is grown and the grown is boy. Meaning changes the moment the patterns are altered. So linguistics then studies or looks at these regularities. Now we will get into this in into the details, in subsequent episodes. Like we'll look at phonetics, syntax, semantics, pragmatics, and so on and so forth. When we get into the main issue, this is just an introductory chapter to what linguistics is actually about. Now, what linguistics is not. Linguistics is not an avenue for public speaking. If you think you are coming to the university to read linguistics because you want to be good at public speaking, you are at the wrong place. Linguistics is not an avenue for debate. Studying linguistics is not an avenue for grammar policing. This is not a place where you come and correct people's grammar because you think you are reading linguistics, you are the best in English or whatsoever. No, that is not what linguistics is about. For anything, we do not laugh at people's error. Instead, we try to understand why those errors exist. Now, when you get into the university, linguistics might feel very strange to you because, once again, you enter the university expecting one thing and then you come and meet another thing. And so many of the students come to the university, many of you guys come to the university with the intention or with a mindset that linguistics is equal to learning many languages, and linguistics is equal to speaking fluently, linguistics is equal to something close to English or communication studies. But then you come to the classroom and then you're doing something totally different. You're learning about phonetics and phonology and all these things, and you don't even know the head and tail of what is going on. So, you see, people come with their own expectation and they meet a different thing. Now, the reality check is that in the first weeks, students realize that linguistics is purely analytical and not just conversational. Students realize that whatever is being taught in the classroom is purely analytical. Also, they realize that whatever is being taught in the classroom is following a structure, but they fail to grasp the structure that is being taught because the expectation is still clouding their mindset. So before you start the semester, clear your mindset, clear your expectation, and understand that you are not coming to read English in a linguistics classroom. Because over the years, we have realized that this gap between your expectation and your reality is what causes most of the confusion that students face. And because of this, a lot of students feel very lost very quickly. And I keep on telling my friends that at a point in time, if I was not checked very well, I would have dropped out of linguistics classroom because I experienced exactly what some of the students experience. You come to the classroom thinking you're coming to read languages, and then you come and meet plosives and others. Like, sorry, what? But you see, the truth of the matter is, once you get accustomed to the fact that linguistics is not equal to learning a specific language, you get to appreciate the scientific nature of the course or the program. Okay, so who is linguistics for? Linguistics is for students who like thinking deeply, analytical thinkers. It is for people that enjoy patterning and logic. Also, people that are curious about how things work. And by things, we are talking about language and everything that evolves around language. Now, when you get into the program, like I said earlier on, you are going to be introduced to phonetics and phonology, which has to do with sounds, speech patterns, and so on. There's morphology that has to do with word structure, and so on and so forth. There's syntax that has to do with sentence structure, grammar, blah, 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 so on and so forth. There's semantics and pragmatics, which has to do with meaning and meaning within context and so on and so forth. So you're going to see a lot of things that come together to give us the linguistic experience. Now, that being said, what exactly is linguistics? Linguistics is the scientific study of human communication, into brackets, language. The scientific study of human communication. In the next video, I am going to tell you exactly why you should study linguistics. And subsequently, I'm going to tell you the opportunities that exist in studying this program. My name is Vincent DiCarlo. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.